Hello, Internet! Now that I have blown your ears out successfully, I hope you are all ready to hear me rant about fanfiction for the next 2 hours.
And if you're not, too bad. That's what's happening.
Yes. Alright, so let me just pull up everyone's favorite wheel of fanfiction. And we will select from this wheel today. Let's see what we got here. Of course, we have Trevor, who insists he's gonna be here today. But we all know that's not happening. Even though I literally just talked to him like 10 minutes ago. Still not gonna show up.
Of course not. You can count on no one but yourself, and occasionally
Trust no one,
son.
not even yourself.
You can count only on yourself and a son bro that you've summoned.
Alright, you know what? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go with this story. And the... Oh boy. I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm actually not too excited for this one. So, let's transfer that on over. And, so, it's a Ruby Naruto story.
You not excited for Ruby Naruto? What a fucking surprise.
Well, it's, yeah. Yeah. Alright. So, this is The Lucky Branwyn by Shinobi of Greed. When Raven left Taiyang...
Why do people say that? Like, I am the Shinobi of Greed. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? What are you, a 7 deadly sin?
Yes. When Raven left Taiyang and Yang, she didn't leave by herself. But you see, she took her eldest child and Yang's twin brother with her. Okay, look, so I know the whole twins thing is a meme where one twin goes, I'm the eldest, and the other twin goes, fuck you, you were born 2 minutes earlier than me. That doesn't mean shit. Because they don't actually know when they were born.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the way the author's describing this, it sounds like she's taking 2 people with her? Unless the author actually does mean the eldest twin. Okay. Flash forward 17 years into the future, because we don't need to talk about literally anything about this scenario. A tribe-raised Naruto decides he wants to meet his sisters, though is Beacon ready for another Branwyn. It's a hurt comfort romance story featuring a Naruto Nora ship, which is fucking heresy, by the way, with 2,000 favorites, 23 chapters, and 170K
You know what?
words.
At least he's not dating his sister.
Happy Brexit Day. Thank you. Happy Brexit Day. Half of these sources of fan fiction I know next to nothing about, so I can only nod and smile when you say it destroys canon or rehashes it. Well, Super Potatoes, you really don't need to know anything about either of these fanfics to be disgusted by this, because this is just narrative choices that I'm being disgusted at this point. I mean, it's Naruto Ruby, so basically there's no characterization for either, and the inconsistencies of the power sets of both groups also are just wild. So it's already going to be a fucking shit fest. And of course, the author's not going to bother trying to figure out how to balance chakra and aura and what are they related? Are they similar? All that shit. No, are they going to bother with it? No, of course not. No, it's just going to be Naruto's semblance is going to be using chakra, and he's just going to have all of Naruto moves because he's Naruto, even though he's not Naruto, and even though he's actually just a fucking
No, you see, he's
meat
Naruto.
suit. I bet he loves ramen too. But it's just like narratively, this is a garbage story. Like just based off the premise alone, because from what we're getting here, this isn't some sort of isekai of Naruto being raised by Raven. No, this is just straight up. A baby was born. It got named Naruto, and it just happens to look like Naruto from the series Naruto. That's the only similarity we got going on here. Is that he looks like Naruto from the series Naruto, and his name is Naruto. He isn't Naruto from the series Naruto. It's just flat out a fucking baby, never from the Naruto verse at all. Nothing to do with Naruto verse at all. Just looks like him.
Yep. Because that's how these things work.
To be fair, when I remember of Naruto episodes that ramen featured in it looked like a really good soup. I mean, it is supposed to be a really good soup.
Having gone to places that, like, having eaten ramen that isn't, shitty garbage 50-cent ramen, yes.
Yeah.
Like, actual ramen tastes pretty good.
It's really good, actually, yeah. And you're supposed to slurp the soup, and you're supposed to drink the whole thing. Well, it's really tasty.
I would just say, just like normal soup. Anyway, point is, it's quite tasty, but that's besides the point.
Point here is that the author is a hack and deserves every little bit of scorn ever coming his way. But that's neither here nor there. This opening chapter looks fairly long, all things considered, so I think I'm just going to accelerate through it because you already explained why I hate the premise. The title is pretty fucking stupid too because Naruto semblance now from the title, it sounds like Naruto semblance is just going to be it's Naruto's joke luck. Oh, okay, that's great, thanks. Because what they always do in Naruto is there's always this like ongoing canon / fanon joke about how lucky Naruto is when it comes to like slots and shit, and card games or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, but if he was like actually lucky, like, cause it's a joke in canon that Naruto is lucky at this, and then everyone else in the fanon tries and goes like, oh, Naruto's just super lucky, and it's like, really think about it, he's not fucking lucky at all. Like, his dad was a suicidal moron who decided to sacrifice himself pointlessly. His mother was just flat out murdered. That's not lucky. He was a village.
Fair, at least the mother died in a somewhat decent way. Of I am trying to protect my husband and my baby.
Well, yeah, but still, it was just a straight up murder setup. So, still not lucky. He was a village pariah due to a dumb old fuck thinking like, oh man, if I make him a village pariah, I can then snatch him up and train him as a weapon. That's not lucky. His grandfather figure dies because he was too soft to kill off one of his students. That's not lucky. Oh sure, yeah, he stumbled upon Jiraiya, who was peeping on women. And Jiraiya taught him a bunch of things and later on became his mentor, who then later on went off to find his old student and got killed for it. That's not lucky. The student of his father, who ended up being his teacher, decided that he wasn't going to do anything for Naruto. He wasn't going to teach Naruto anything about his dad. He wasn't going to teach Naruto anything. Period. That's not lucky. This is the whole thing with the fandom that I despise sometimes. They choose to focus on some of the most random fucking things possible, where it's just like, why? Why is that your focus? Why is everyone going around going like, oh man, Naruto was so fucking lucky? It's like, he's really not. I'm pretty sure that's some sort of like ironic Japanese joke, like Naruto's life is just absolute garbage, but when it comes to
But
games
hey,
of
he
chance,
can win at slots.
yeah, it's like that's the joke or some sort of shit that
And let's
it's
be
just
honest,
not
that probably has more to
translating
do
well.
with the fact that a bunch of Japanese people are horrible gambling addicts trying to get out of a failing economy.
Probably, yeah. Um, but that's likely some sort of Japanese joke that just didn't translate because of culture or something. Fine, whatever. People are just fucking dumb. He has idiot savant luck, sort of. Basically, when it comes to games of chance and whenever he makes a bet, it's shown as like a jokey thing that occurs where he can't lose it. It's a little like a one-off throwaway line. It was a little tiny bit of a plot relevance when it came to he made a bet against the Tsunade. Tsunade's like, oh, you can't learn the Rasengan, and Naruto's like, I bet you I can in 1 week, and then he does it. And the joke is that Tsunade makes terrible bets and always loses them, and Naruto makes great bets and always wins them, even though it's like the only bet he's ever made canonically.
I was say, because remember, most of his money he lost because Jiraiya was an asshole.
Yeah.
Which also, yeah, let's point that out. Finally meets someone who can teach him. Finally meets someone who knew his dad. Steals life savings.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh boy. Okay, so this is a so Zeke said that this author basically just writes really shitty Naruto inserts, and no, this one looks like the father of Asia. That's dumb. But no, Naruto ends up in brand new dimension. At least it's Naruto. At least it's not some sort of fucking meat suit that looks like Naruto and it's fucking puppeted around. You know, when I love ramen, even though I've never fucking tasted ramen. Um, Naruto Namikaze, I am the Black Fox. Okay, so okay, yeah, literally that's just straight up not even Naruto. That's just another character that looks like Naruto. A fairy without honor. A lone child embarks upon a journey. Child of the Alvarez Empire. Yep, another not even Naruto insert. Naruto Silva. Loudmouth Boy. Black Clover prequel. Not Naruto. Hero's Legacy. Everyone thinks being born with two quirks made my life easier. Nope, it's garbage. Okay, again,
What is
not
the rash?
not not Naruto. This is not an isekai. This is not a reincarnation. This is nothing. Not Naruto. The Pirate's Prince, Redux, Naruto in One Piece. Naruto idolizes his father Rayleigh. Not fucking Naruto. So all these fucking Naruto stories that the author has supposedly written because he's such a massive fucking fan of Naruto, guess what? Only one of those fucking stories is actually Naruto! Jesus Christ. It's like someone coming up to you and being like, yo, no, man, I fucking love Lamborghinis. Look at all my Lamborghinis that I have. And they're like, three of them are electric Tesla cars. One of them's just a straight up truck. And the fifth one's just a fucking tractor. And then there's the Lamborghini behind the tractor. And it's like, bro, you only got one Lamborghini. Bro, you can't say you love Lamborghinis and
No,
look
I mean,
how
to be
many
fair, there are
Lamborghinis you
lots of
have.
people who love Lamborghinis and don't even own one Lamborghini.
Well, sure, but at least they don't call the rest of their cars Lamborghinis.
That is true.
Like, you can't say, look how many Lamborghinis I own, look how much I love Lamborghinis, and then be like, I only actually own one Lamborghini. It's like, okay, well, then I can't really tell that you love Lamborghinis. All I can tell is you love saying the word Lamborghini. The sixth one's just a toy car. Yeah, basically. Uh. Oh, you don't know that he's not using Naruto like a fucking dick muppet. Yeah, pretty much. But, so anyway. Uh, Under the cover of night, a single individual was walking. As he moved, it was clearly he had a stagger. Alright, so Naruto's drunk and blah blah blah. He looked unkempt and he had crimson eyes and blonde hair. Alright, so he's a drunk crow. Oh wow. He's Crow, except he's Naruto. He's drunk and he uses ways of cashies. Which, again, I would like to point out that these Japanese forging methods, very specific. You need a very specific forge. You need a very specific iron to do these things. The whole point of these Japanese swords with the whole curve to them is they get the curve due to the forging method because they had to make the back part of the sword a lot thicker, and they had to curve it because if they didn't curve it on purpose, it would curve forward towards the thinner side because that's how physics work. And the reason why they had to make the back part of the katana, Wazukeshi, Tantos, they had to make that back part thicker is due to the folding and the shit quality iron they had to use to do this whole process.
Because most of their iron came from literal sand.
And so the katana is actually a very rigid blade with very little give. It's actually not even the best at cutting. It's not even. It's actually a very, maybe B rank blade, all things considered. It doesn't stand out very well in any section. There's blades way better at slashing than it. There's blades way more durable than it. There's blades that are way easier to forge than it. There's blades that are way stronger than it in terms of tensile strength. There's blades that are.
I was gonna say, for crying out loud, Damascus steel.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, to be fair, Damascus steel is like the S rank of weapons, but still.
Yeah. But like, my point being is that there's way better weapons out there, and I really just find the fascination with katanas. I've always found it to be a little bit cringy. Like, I own a katana and a Wazukeshi, and you know why I own those things? Because I found it amusing when Max sent me them, and he sent me them because Mimi. It wasn't like some sort of like, oh man, here, own a superior blade. If I want a superior blade, I'll own a machete, which I do. Machete don't fuck around. Yeah, I remember the Mythbusters tested a katana against the greatsword. The greatsword snapped the katana in half. Yeah,
well, of course, okay. That's not quite a fair comparison because greatswords are meant to snap everything in half, including human beings.
Well, yeah, greatswords. Fun fact about greatswords and the reason why they could be wielded in the Mordhau or Killing Stroke stance is that greatswords were actually left a little bit dull. I mean, obviously they were given a wedge because even axes
an edge, not a wedge.
Well, it's a wedge.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay? Yes. I thought you just slurred again.
No, it's a wedge. It's an unsharpened wedge. Just like how there's certain axes that you can buy and use that you don't need to constantly sharpen to cut wood, because it uses a just basic wedge and physics to do damage using heavy blunt force trauma. And that's the same premise behind greatswords, is that while they can be sharpened and they can, cut flesh normally, the real damage from a greatsword actually comes from the force behind it, because it's a fucking big ass bar of steel that's being swung around. And the real damage from that comes from the blunt force trauma inflicted by it. Which is why you can grab the blade and then use the handguard as a piercing weapon. It's also why you could grab the blade and shorten your reach with it, because it wouldn't cut you. I mean, yeah, you're wearing armor, but also because you don't really need to be concerned about keeping the edge on a greatsword, because actually you're just beating someone.
As long as you can hit someone, they're pretty much.
You're effectively hitting someone with a giant steel club that just happens to have like triangles embedded on it. That if you get hit by that triangle, your arm's coming off, not because it's sharp, but because there's just so much fucking weight and force behind it. Your arm's just like, well, you know what? I just give up.
You know what? I give up.
Yeah. It was supposed to kill horses and, other fun stuff. Swords are fun. It's a lot of technology and thought goes into, especially European swords, but a
lot of technology and thought goes into how to fucking murder people.
Yeah. And how to stop them from being murdered. But anyway, so he's got Japanese swords on his back because rule of cool. Which again, by the way, terrible, absolutely terrible against Grimm. Half the time Grimms have armor plating, so not only can your sword not be used as a thrust weapon now because it's a Japanese style blade, which are pretty awful in terms of thrusting. But it's just like they got terrible durability. They're not flexible, so now you're cutting through a Grimm, and now your fucking sword snaps. It's like, oh wow, congratulations. Maybe you have aura in your blade. If you have aura in your blade, then why does Raven carry around like 9 katanas?
To be fair, I think she does that because she's using different dust blades.
Sure. But she doesn't really need to. It's not like It's not like Grimm have resistance to electricity or some shit.
I think she does that because she fights people. She doesn't fight Grimm. Like, yes,
it's not like people besides Nora have resistance to electricity or some shit. It's not like people just like, oh yeah, my ability is that I can eat fire. It's like, okay, Natsu, go the fuck away. But literally no one else in the world besides you can be affected by my fire blade. So I don't really know why she needs to carry around the blade of each element if literally no one has resistances besides like a single person in the world. From what can I find, great swords weigh about 6 pounds on average. Yeah, but it's all about leverage, my dude. Again, long swords weigh about like 2
your
pounds.
average woodcutting axe weighs like 6 pounds.
Yeah, it's all about the leverage and the angles. Physics are fun. Physics will kill you. Physics will save your life. But anyway, point being is that Raven carries around 19,000 katanas because rule of cool as well. But Axe gang rise up, chop chop English monks. Axes are pretty good, yeah. One was white and one was black. These were his signature weapon, and left everyone thinking he was a huntsman. That wasn't true. He wasn't a huntsman, but a warrior.
What? He wasn't a huntsman. He just happened to fight things for money.
He wasn't a huntsman. He just happened to have aura and weapons and hunt Grimm for money. That's not a huntsman. That's a warrior. Uh-huh.
Like, listen. So I'm rereading the Dragonlance books, right?
Yep.
So one of the things that I really, really, really appreciated about the Dragonlance books is you've got Sturm Brightblade and Cardamon. Is that how you say his name? Or
Maybe.
Carmon? You know the two I'm talking about, right?
Who? I was on my
Um,
nose.
the Knight dude and the dude who's super tall, super buff. His
From
brother's the mage.
Dragonlance?
Yeah, Dragonlance.
Yeah.
So the thing that I appreciate, those two make a distinction between a knight and a warrior,
Sure, yeah.
because Sturm is, in terms of the actual 3.5 books, Sturm is a cavalier, right? He's not allowed to backstab people.
Right,
He has to do a challenge.
right,
Cardamon is just a warrior. He can win a fight however he pleases.
right.
They have functionally identical skill sets, just one of them has some shitty restrictions.
Well, the
Jokes
thing...
aside though, right? There's an actual difference between those two. There is no difference between this.
Yeah. See, the thing is that there's several tiers of fighter, I guess you could say, with fighter being one of them. There's the fighter, the person that just goes out and fights. Maybe they have a little bit of training, but they're more you would think in the realm of uh not quite a levy, but more around maybe like a bandit. You know,
Well, they could even just be some dude who's been levied a couple of times.
yeah. And then you got your warriors. So these are people that are dedicated to learning how to fight. They aren't typically considered part of an army per se.
Well, I was gonna say, well, the kind of thing we're talking about right now would be the best thing to call it would be like a footman, right? Like someone who might get a sword.
Usually footmen would be issued spears and occasionally swords or maces.
I'm sorry, I meant a long-serving footman, right?
Oh,
Like
right, yeah.
because there were people in the medieval era who they weren't warriors, they weren't knights, but they were like armed guards.
Right, yeah, right. And then you would have your warriors, which again, they aren't part of an army. Funnily enough, you don't use warriors in a war. Um, warriors, the best way to describe them would be more of along the lines of people dedicated to fighting, but they don't train in squad tactics. They don't train in taking orders. They like, we are the warriors. This tribe is a tribe of warriors. They all just train on their own. They all just maybe occasionally they sparred with each other. Maybe they did 2v2s and shit. But mostly everyone just handled themselves. You have your knights, which are usually some form of noble born or raised to noble status, maybe like the third or fourth son or stuff like that. These people would be training their whole life for fighting, and or depending on the situation, specifically just being regulated to such a role due to their status of being like the sixth son or some shit. The chivalric code actually doesn't really exist for knights. It was a later coined concept because there was no real unified chivalric code. It was mostly just what that lord.
Well, remember,
at that
chivalry comes from the French word, like it's a bastardization of a French word. Like there
Yeah.
was a code of I'm
Well,
not sure the actual it was what chevalier or something.
Chevalier, yeah. That's a position of it's a
It's like a
non-land.
combination
No, it's a
of position and an actual
non-landed.
thing.
Well, yeah, but it's a non-landed noble title that can only be acquired. It's like a medieval version of a Medal of Honor, basically. It was a title that anyone could get for doing a service to the country or the specifically the royalty. Um, it did not come with land. It did not come with any other expectations. It was basically just a, hey, you did a really good thing. Here is a title.
Yeah.
Um, Funny how the first stream of the year was during the actual first day of the month, and this one is on the last one. Yeah, it's
That's
days.
true.
That's how days work.
Um,
Would
but yeah,
warriors be
like
considered
even
gladiators in
Wikipedia,
Rome? Yes.
right? Like even Wikipedia says the term chivalry derived from the old French term chevalier, which
Yeah.
translated loosely as horse soldiery.
Yeah.
It was literally just to refer to dudes on horses.
Yeah. Um, but the whole chivalric thing is more or less just that knight's either personal code of honor or the expectations placed upon him by his lord. What's this story about? This story is a garbage tier story about a meat puppet that looks like Naruto. That looks like Naruto, who was born in the Rubyverse. He doesn't have any Naruto's powers. He doesn't have Naruto's parents. He's not a Naruto reincarnation. He's just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Oh, sorry, red-eyed. He's got red eyes because reasons. Raven, red eyes. Yeah. He's a blonde-haired, red-eyed, whisker-marked child that is the twin of Yang that Raven stole when she ran away. And fast forward 17 years later, past the point where we watch any sort of character development or plot development or have anything set up for us in terms of what to look out for, except for the fact that Naruto is now a child of Raven, and he's back, and he's in Beacon now. Yeah, this is why we're not even bothering to read the story and instead teaching you guys a lot of things about chivalry and knights and weapons and shit. Because Naruto also has Wazakashis and the garbage tier weapon. Um, but yeah, chivalry, knights, it's fun stuff. Fun stuff. It's actually real interesting. And then you have the soldiery. Soldiery is not as trained. I would say it's about as trained as a fighter, but more trained to work together in large groups. Sort of think of the same thing as the Roman legion. Soldiery.
Well, I was just say, remember, because there are two different kinds of mounted knights. There are court knights,
Right. Yeah.
who were nobles,
Yeah.
and they had a similar amount of training to your average uh, actual heavy cavalry group,
Mhm.
but there was actual trained knights who were trained to do one thing: mass charge with lances.
Yep.
And then like obviously they got lots more military training that involved like stabbing people and shields, but their main goal was, you see that group of scared peasants over there? If you just ride horses through like 20 of them, the other 30,000 will go, "Oh, I'd rather not get trampled by a horse or end up on some dude's stick.
Yeah. More or less. Yeah.
I'm out."
But anyway, back to the garbage story. So he's not a huntsman, he's a warrior, even though there's really no distinction here. Sneaky, while the author won't do it, character development and such doesn't always have to come linearly in the story and can easily be integrated through flashbacks, especially if the main story itself is oblique. Yeah, that's true, but that's also a dumbass way to do it. It's very rare that I'll accept flashbacks as a good narrative technique, and I can have such opinions backed up by literally every author that's ever been published in a book. In a book, again, Western books, flashbacks basically aren't a thing. Published does not equal good. No, you're correct. It doesn't, but it does equal money. Um, it's like I say, Stephanie Meyer, terrible fucking author, terrible fucking books. However, fantastic formula, very successful.
Who's Stephanie Meyer?
The person who wrote the Twilight series.
Oh.
Fanfiction
Yeah, I
is neither
tried not
good
to
nor
learn her
profitable,
name.
so neither of those points matter. No, that's true enough. It's not good or profitable, so it doesn't matter. But flashbacks just aren't good. They aren't good at telling a narrative, and they aren't good at keeping interest, because you have two things with flashbacks. One, it breaks the pacing, the pacing of the story, where it's going a certain direction at a certain speed. The flashback is a purposeful break in that pacing, which there are points and junctions in the story where you could fit a flashback into without, just like yanking someone out of the immersion into the story. But those points are not often and usually have to be a little bit intentional. And then on top of that, there is the fact that they do not hold interest usually. Like, no one goes into reading a chapter going, oh boy, I sure hope they stop progressing the current plot line so they can tell me about a plot line that's already been resolved 10 years ago. Like,
I mean, I do, but Oh wait, I don't.
I remember the movie Memento was entirely a series of flashbacks, as it was about a person who had brain damage leading to short-term memory loss. I think
Okay,
I remember that
that's
movie.
a very specific thing, though.
Yeah, but it also, they made the entire movie about it.
Right, but
Which,
that's different, right?
yeah, any story can be told if you make that the focus of the story. Any stupid narrative technique can be used if you make it the focus of the story. You know, my point itself is the plot isn't chronically linear and character development doesn't need to be either. Yeah, that's also true. You're correct. But the issue I have here is that this is more or less meat puppet Naruto. Um, that we have no idea how he's supposed to act. We can't compare him to then to now. We can't do any sort of comparison between Naruto of Naruto and Naruto of this fucking garbage ass story, because we don't have anything to base it on. We're just going straight into the whole Naruto is wandering drunkenly through the streets of Vale. Like, okay. Whoa. You know,
Why did we have drunk Naruto? Like if you're gonna give us a drunkard, at least establish why he's a drunkard before giving us a drunkard.
we're literally 10% into the first chapter. Of course, we don't have any idea what Naruto's like. Well, yeah, I know. Because the author decided to do 17 years of time skip.
Okay, I feel like there's a disconnect here. Sneaky's point is that this guy shouldn't have skipped 17 years of development when this isn't Naruto. We don't have a pre-established character. We know literally nothing about him. We have now skipped to him in his teenage years.
Like, literally,
Now,
the only draw to this story.
No, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Normally, that can be fine, right?
Yeah.
There are plenty of books that start with teenagers.
Yeah, sure.
But that's because those teenagers have not yet gone on any kind of journey, usually.
Also, those books didn't start with 18 years ago. The mother of the main character kidnapped her son from the twin that he never knew about and is now going to find 18 years later. Like that's
Also true.
that's never. I have never seen that be the premise of a story. Now, sure, that was that ended up becoming the premise of the story, but that's not what they led with in the story. It's usually like for the longest time, Jack always thought he was a farmer until one day when he snuck into his father's room, and underneath a secret floorboard, he discovered a medal detailing the banner of the First Legion of the Emperor. Like then you can be like, oh, he wants to go on a journey of discovery. He's gonna find what the hell. Why does his dad have the banner of the First Legion with him? What's going on here? Um, then you don't lead in with there's a time skip. Like there's a time skip in the literal fucking summary.
No, Arn, you're confusing in media res with what this guy is doing. In media res means you start in the middle of the action.
No, actually, in media res, a narrative work beginning in the media res opens in the midst of a plot. Often, exposition is bypassed and then filled in gradually through flashbacks or past description of events, such as
Then
in the
I'm
play
wrong.
Hamlet. Yes, this is true. This is a technique, Arm. However, what you are missing in media res is not used often in the way you're thinking of in successful Western stories. It's used in manga when you have interesting characters, quote unquote, and you have something going on, but you need to explain why this really thing that you don't understand what's going on. So they do a flashback and they're like, oh, well, actually, like 20 years ago, these people used to fight because reason. And you're like, oh, now I understand why current event is happening. Manga can do that because Japanese culture has kind of just like done that sort of thing, and it's a normal thing there. But also because it's pictures, because of the pacing, because of the form of media that is being used for this. Plays, shows, uh, you know, they all have different terms for pacing. They all have different methods, different. You can't apply what works for a Western book to what works for a Western play, to what works for a Eastern book. Yeah. Um. But could the author do an in media res? Naruto is sneaking around, looking for his sister, and as he's sneaking around, he finds her walking into the bar, and so he follows her in. That's an in media res. That's actually a decent use of in media res. And then the audience goes, well, why is Naruto sneaking around? No, why does Naruto have a sister? And then it goes, oh, it's flashback time. 17 years ago, Naruto was born as the twin to Yang, and Raven left with him. And ever since, he's always wanted to find his sister after he found out of her existence. And maybe another flashback. Flashback to Raven stealing Naruto and running away, and then a flashback to one day when Naruto's training, and he learns about Yang because Raven was drunk and ranting or some shit. Who knows? We don't, and that's my point. Is that this isn't an in media res. We start the story off with Naruto wandering drunkenly through the streets with Waizakeshis strapped to his back because Waizakeshis are cool. That's not starting in the middle of a plot. And then on top of all of that, we have the premise of the story being 17 years ago, Naruto was kidnapped. And now he's going to go find his family. Like, okay, well, thanks for this absolutely plot destroying opener of a summary. It's like, oh wow, neat. That takes all the interest out of this one. Oh, why was he walking down the street this night? It's because he was Naruto Branwin. He was the eldest son. Eldest son. Literally, you're 2 minutes older. Recently ran away from his home to meet his sisters. And that's why he's intoxicated. Because he went to the city and got drunk instead of looking for his sisters that he ran away from home to find. Okay. See, the reason why Naruto was drunkenly stumbling around is because he didn't know where they were. He knew they existed and that they might be in this area, but Raven never told him where they were found. So obviously, his solution was to get drunk and be less capable of finding them. Okay. Unfortunately, Naruto arrived at a philosophical bridge, and he had no idea where to find his sisters. So he decided he was going to do what he does best, which is get absolutely wasted and let his luck semblance do everything for him. Ah, yes, it's a very Naruto reaction to things. Is just, oh wow, I tried like once to find my sisters. I guess I'll just give up and get drunk as hell and wait for the world to fix it for me. That 10 out of 10. It's a very Naruto reaction to life. That's also a very Naruto reaction to being raised by Raven Branwin. Definitely, I'll just sit around and wait for the world to fix itself to my liking. That's a very Raven taught approach to life, right? Is Raven's a very passive person that doesn't ever bother trying to do anything in her life because she just thinks life will just bend for her.
She definitely didn't advocate extreme personal strength to the point where she abandoned a child.
And killed her father.
Did she?
Yeah, no, she what happened was is when she left the group, she went back to the Branwin tribe and killed her father and said, "I have killed my father. He was the strongest. Now I am the strongest, which means I am your leader now."
Ah, yes, yes.
You guys are arguing about how the story is told, but I'm wondering why the fuck Raven would snatch baby Naruto even though she abandoned Yang because she didn't want to be tied down or whatever the fuck. You see, it's because Raven and stuff, and then reasons and stuff. But Naruto is lucky because the thing reasons semblance and stuff.
1 second.
You see, Nexus, when you just don't think about anything relevant to characters and how they would act, it just makes so much more sense as to why something would happen. And then Naruto gets a phone call, and he's like, "Wow, I figured Raven would call me by now." And so he answers the phone. And he's like, "Hi, Mom." And Raven's like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "Well, I'm outside, of course." And then Raven smiled at that because her son was just hilarious. You know what I mean, Naruto. You left the tribe and I can't find you. Where are you? I thought you were only going to ask once.
She wouldn't care. She literally wouldn't care.
Yep. And then Raven's head got really big with a tick mark appearing. You little shit. tell me where you are. You're in trouble.
No, no, listen, first off, we need to capture just how unraven this line is.
I mean, not only that, it's like she
Listen
can
here, you
literally
son of a
teleport to
me.
him.
If you don't tell me where you are, trouble doesn't even describe the kind of shit you're in. Literally nothing is like.
I mean, not only that, she can literally teleport to him.
Well, yes. Yes, she can literally teleport behind you.
Naruto
Like,
sighed.
I was just
I
saying,
am gonna
everything
go
you
find my
understand.
sisters. Hmm?
God damn it.
Yeah. I've spent 17 years knowing my mother. I want my rest of the family. Why would the fuck would Raven tell Naruto about the rest of his family?
Even if she did, let's pretend that she does, right? Because one day Naruto's like, you know, hey mom, what was dad like? Oh well, I don't know. He was an okay guy. He probably raised your sisters better than I. Somehow she innocuously lets the fact that he has family drop because she just doesn't care, right?
Maybe.
Um, so that's maybe a reason why. But then the kid goes, I want to go see them, and she'd go, all right, you can go do that. Are you gonna help me? Pfft, no. You want to go find you want to see your family? Go find them on your own.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Like this right here, where she tells him where to go. No, she
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Bang. Yeah. Bang. Yang is
I mean,
attending
yes, that
Beacon.
is what the community calls her. Here's the thing, right?
Hmm.
This entire problem could have been solved, uh, and not to put too fine a point on it,
Hmm.
but Arn, this goes back to Sneaky's original point. If we hadn't skipped 17 years, we could have maybe seen some development where, for whatever reason,
Raven's different
whatever
now.
reason, Raven brings a kid with her,
Like,
which then she has her own child, which doesn't drastically change her personality, but does soften her.
yeah, that's the thing is when it comes to fan fiction and you're going to do a time skip. That's the reason why in my Naruto Ruby story, I didn't just go Naruto at age 4 ends up in Ruby, and then 17 years later, this is his story. No, I started with Kid Naruto. I set up Kid Naruto and what he's doing and why he's doing it, and what his aspirations are and etc. Which is at that moment being a fucking 4-year-old or whatever, a 6-year-old, are effectively I want people to like me / notice me, either which works. And that's why he's messing with this seal because the adults were like, "Oh yeah, we'll totally notice you if you do this thing." And so he does it, and then he ends up in Ruby, and then he gets picked up by Tai Yang, who I then show being fatherly towards him, and Naruto develops an attachment to the kids, and that's why he's acting a certain way towards them, and then he grows up a little bit more, and he learns a little bit more, and then we do another time skip where he's learning a little bit more, and he's branching out, and you can start to see where he's going with his skill set. And then we do the major time skip, which was my biggest fucking regret, by the way. But we did it anyway. We did the major time skip where we hop straight into the canon timeline of events going on. And that being like Ruby ends up in Beacon, etc. And Naruto is there as an assistant teacher or something. Again, that was my biggest regret, honestly. But point being is that I built up. Why is this Naruto different? Why is he acting different? Why are the characters acting different? Why are Yang and Ruby way more fit than their counterparts or the way they were in canon? Why are they stronger? Why are these characters acting this way? I've set all this shit up because it's a deviation from what is canon. And the reason why you need to set that shit up is because if you're a quality person who enjoys, that fandom, You need to set it up so other people that can enjoy that fandom can go, oh yes, now it makes sense. That is why character X doing thing Y makes sense when normally they wouldn't do thing Y, because new character B showed up and did thing Z. Why is Raven acting all motherly towards Naruto? Well, we'll never fucking know, will we? Starting with a flashback of pinnacle retardation, so flashback now flash forward. Yeah, except for the part where the characters being drastically different already, delodges that hook. The first chapter is supposed to hook you into reading the story. And if you have a bunch of characters running around not acting anything like they do in canon, you're losing the hook. Your hook's getting weaker. It's turned into a floppy noodle. If you want characters to be different from how they are in their original incarnations, it is my personal belief that you need to show why they are different before you show them being different. Unless you're going to immediately lead in to them being different, like character, Ozpin does something wildly out of character, and another character goes, "Oh yeah, oh why is he doing this? Oh right, I remember the time when XYZ happened, and that's why Ozpin's doing this now." And we go to this whole flashback of an event happening and Ozpin changing his opinion on opinion B on thing Z, and that's why that Ozpin is now doing action A instead of when he normally wouldn't have. You immediately follow up the thing that is different with a flashback. Then it's like, okay, fine, it's stupid, but fine. If you're just gonna be like, oh, all these characters are different because of 17 years of character development that I'm never gonna fucking show.
All right. To be fair, Arnie is making a decent point where he's just trying to. He is saying he's playing devil's advocate, not making a dumb pun there. But
Oh, I'm aware. I know he's not that dumb. He fucking hates Ruby. He couldn't give a fucking less of a shit about how a character from Ruby is portrayed. I'm aware. I'm just using his devil advocacy as a reason to rant about actual legitimate problems in fan fiction in terms of how people interpret pacing and narrative structure. People write daydreams. I know. And sometimes people can have a really cool daydream that I want to hear about. And sometimes they can be like my sister, who spends an hour telling a story that the entire premise of the story is, I saw my friend today and I said hi to her. But it took her an hour to tell that story because she keeps fucking meandering around and being like, oh, I also like the color blue today. It's just like, how is any of this relevant to the story you're trying to tell us? It's not. But it's because she doesn't know how to tell a story. She saw something funny when she was walking down the road. Oh, what's the funny thing? Oh, it was funny to me. What's the funny thing? Oh, it was a thing I saw. What's the funny thing? Some people don't know how to tell a story. Some people...
fan fiction lets anyone tell a story.
Yeah, I know, right? But, yes, fan fiction is daydreams. Fan fiction is just the what-if questions that you're sitting there and you're just like, man, what if Naruto just had, like, a cannon instead of a hand? Is it dumb? Yeah. Could it be funny? Yeah. If you walk up to someone and be like, yo, man, what if Naruto had a cannon for a hand? And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, Naruto, if he just was born with like this flesh cannon instead of a hand. Okay, well that's really weird. And he's like, yeah. And then he's like goes around and like shoots people with it. Like, okay, that's certainly okay. if you try rolling that as a crack story, it makes a great crack story. Probably, I don't know. I wouldn't try it, but you know, you could probably make a decent crack story. If you tried sitting there and be like hyper serious about like, oh, I'm gonna write a 300,000 word story about Naruto being born with a cannon for a hand, it's less interesting. You know, half of the storytelling of a daydream is how you're phrasing this daydream. If you want people to take it super seriously, it'll be a somewhat serious daydream. Like, you know, what if it was revealed tomorrow that China actually did make the Wuhan virus, and that documents were revealed uh, explaining China's intent on using it as an assassination device to sabotage and destroy the rest of the countries of the world. And because of that, the U.S. declares war on China. It's a daydream. It's a what-if question. It's a ponderment. That'd be a very serious story. You wouldn't be like, and then Trump rode up on him with his tractor flagging the American flag, and he goes, China, you're paying for the wall. And no, only a liberal would laugh at that. You know, no one else would laugh at that. What if Sasuke was just soy sauce? Exactly. You know, that daydreams are the source of everything, not just fan fiction. They're the source of all movie ideas, the source of all inventions, they're the source of all books. The difference is in how they are written and how they're executed. Half the battle is just figuring out how to translate what's in your head into something on paper. That doesn't mean I'm going to give someone slack because they're fucking retarded and they don't know how to do that. You know, not everyone's great at it. I get that. You know, not everyone's great at it, but still do it. I get that. You know, if someone's terrible at the trumpet, but they really love playing the trumpet, it's like, you do you, buddy. But if you play the trumpet near me, I'm gonna tell you how fucking awful you are every time you play the trumpet near me. It's not gonna stop me from you playing the trumpet. It's not gonna stop me from telling you how much you suck at the trumpet, even though you enjoy the trumpet. Doesn't fucking matter. You still suck at it, and I'm still gonna tell you how much you suck at it. Same thing for this fan fiction. It is a publicly posted work. I did not go out of my way to find this story, let me tell you. I went onto the Ruby section, and I said, what are the current crossovers that have just updated? In the publicly accessible Ruby section that even a 5-year-old could navigate to. This story was at the top of the list, so I added it to my list of shit I wanted to talk about. I didn't search for it specifically. I didn't fucking hunt down a link from their Twitter page, from their DeviantArt page, that led to a Google Doc of unfinished published works. No. This is a finished public work that they have posted out for everyone to see. So I'm going to comment publicly on how garbage it is. Anyway, apparently Raven had explained to Naruto already why she stole Naruto. And the reason is because Naruto's semblance is so evil that no one will love him but her. Literally, not even joking, that's what she says. Once they find out about your semblance, they will leave you. I am your only loving mother. Goodbye, Naruto. Um, Now looks like I'm gonna go to Beacon, but before I go to Beacon, let's get wasted again. And then Ozpin, Omari Dawes him, and is like, yo, I have detected you with my plot resonance field. Uh, you Branwins, always getting drunk. Except, okay, I mean, I guess Raven does drink quite a bit of beer. So, it's kind of a bandit thing more than a Branwin thing. I like coffee. I didn't sense him until just now. Who is this person? It's Ozpin, and I'm going to describe him as if nobody knows it's Ozpin. Um, yeah, because Raven would never talk about Ozpin, the one person she hates the most, besides maybe herself. Yeah, she'll tell Naruto all about his family, but she'll never say anything about Ozpin. Okay, yeah, whatever. Oh no! Actually, even though Naruto didn't know what Ozpin looked like, or sounded like, or acted like, or anything about Ozpin, he actually knew all about Ozpin because his mother constantly talked about Ozpin. Raven doesn't like you. Well, I like Raven. Relics, maidens. Mom won't tell me anything about relics or maidens or Salem. Mom won't tell me anything about relics, maidens, or Salem, except she'll tell me that relics, the maidens, and Salem all exist. She won't tell me anything about them besides the fact that all of them exist and that I shouldn't go looking for any of them. Because that's how you make sure people don't look for things, is you tell them all about those things and then say don't look for them. Naruto's semblance is he mimics speech and movements of anyone talking to him mockingly. Yes, basically. I see. Last time I checked, your mother wasn't concerned with anything like that. So I'm curious as to why she told you. I'm Mom's favorite. Okay, cool story, bro. They are coming to my school. You should come to my school. Why should I go to your school? Well, you are Raven's child, so obviously you're going to be skilled. Blah 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 blah
I mean, at
blah.
least that's a reasonable assumption.
Blah 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 blah. Sure, Ozpin, I'll come to your school. Why are you wandering the streets? Well,
Once-
he chuckles. I guess you could just say it was luck that brought me here. Story of my life, Naruto says. Now what? Well, how about I bring you to Beacon? Orientation is tomorrow. Alright, Ozpin. Bring me to Beacon. Naruto, thanks to Ozpin, arrives at Beacon. Blah 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 blah. But what am I gonna do? Naruto says. I don't know anything about them. What do I say to them? Hi, I'm your brother who was raised by the lady that walked out on your life. What if Yang hates me for how much closer I am to our mother? I mean, she probably will. What if I get jealous of how close Yang is to our father? Well, since you're concerned about it, you're probably not going to be. It was just luck. Bruh, that has to be the worst attempt at funny yet. It's worse than visual gags. Calling it just luck. Yeah. 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 Well, get used to it, Arn. Because that's this entire fucking story. It's, oh wow, it's so lucky that this happened.
Well, I'm
This,
gonna go eat dinner.
this absolute coincidence that occurred. So lucky. Um, and then all the students stampeded out of the ship, and then Yang, wait up. Man, Yang, Naruto made it only a few feet into his chase before he was hit upon behind and brought to the ground. Oh, and what happened is that Nora fucking just fucking clobbered him with her hammer accidentally. Um, because he's lucky. So then he found his girlfriend because of it, or something. Yang hating Naruto is the first thing that makes fun. Yeah. Blah 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 blah. Naruto girlfriend. Oh, we're best friends now because I said so. We're blah 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 blah. And then Raven was actually watching this whole time, and a single lone tear falls down her face, and she's just like, "Wow, he's a ladies' man, just like his father." Be safe at Beacon, my annoying little maelstrom. Fucking Jesus Christ. A time skip. Beacon Auditorium. Blah 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 words. Words, 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 words. Oh, did your mom go to Beacon too? Oh, yeah, you could say she went to Beacon. But forget about my mom. She's a dusty old bird. Let's go to the ballroom. That was a really cringe tier joke. She's a dusty old bird. She's not even gray haired. Can't even make that joke. Norda, blah 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 weapons, ways of Kashis that there are two ways of Kashis that combine into a katana. My weapons are two long swords, and their ability is to turn into a bigger sword when I combine them. No, Waizakashi. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, not only that, the combination point, because I can only assume. Wait, but how would that even work? Because, like, the difference between the two is that the katana is longer. So, if you combine the two to make them into a katana, then the blade from one of them would have to be applied on top of the blade from the other, which is an obvious point of failure, but would he just have a handle sticking from the back of the blade now? How did... What? How does that... No. 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 What's your semblance? Absorb electricity, that's very useful. What's your semblance? My semblance isn't that great, it's a curse. My semblance is not great, it's a curse. Oh boy. What's your semblance, Naruto? Why don't you tell me? My semblance isn't something I can turn off. My semblance is good luck. I have more good luck than everyone else ever, though it's always great luck, and though it takes my luck takes luck away from everyone around me and leaves them with bad luck. It's great for fighting people, not so great for friends and family. My semblance is why my mother kidnapped me in the first place, so I would not harm the people she loves. You can one hand a katana. It's dumb, but you can do it. Nora was shocked by how much info dump Naruto just did. Well, if your semblance is good luck, is your mother's bad luck? Naruto shook his head. No, you see, my family has the same semblance. The Branwyn family always has semblances that work similar to mine, and the fact they can't be controlled or shut off. Some of my family brings misfortune, some have avoided sickness by bringing illness. My mother's semblance is death. She brings death to those around her. That's why when we were born, she decided to leave to protect them all. My sister was lucky and was born without a semblance from my mother's side of the family, but I wasn't. Why isn't your mother afraid her semblance would harm you? Our semblances counterbalance each other. My good luck protects me from death, and she deals with bad luck, but she gets a family. Because of how I was raised, I've never met my family. That's why I'm at Beacon to find them. Okay, A, your mother's semblance is not death. You can't even say Raven's semblance is death. And this is not me arguing, oh, it's an alternative universe standpoint. No, this is literally, you cannot say Raven's semblance is death because she literally used her canon semblance not even a fucking 4 paragraphs ago. She was using it to spy on Naruto. She was using portals. You cannot then say, oh no, her semblance is actually she kills people. She already displayed the canon semblance. Anyway, I'm looking for my sisters. Oh, I want to see your sisters. If you stick by my side, well, you'll eventually find them if you can deal with all the bad luck that comes my way. You're my first friend since Ren. Luck won't keep us apart. Blah, 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 blah. Good night, Nora. Apparently Ren's not here. Is Ren just non-existent? Um... Yep, Naruto and Nora, Naruto and Nora, Naruto and Nora. This is my friend Ren. Um, wait, what? Yeah, hit from behind. Orange hair girl. Blah blah. She also had a white sleeveless top. The girl was wearing a pink. Wait. Okay, yeah. So it's Nora. Are you all right? Instead, girl runs me over. Who is she? You okay? I didn't hurt you. Yeah, no, we're fine. My name's Nora Valkyrie. And then she pointed her finger to her side, and this is my friend Ren. Naruto raised his eyebrow in confusion. Naruto pulled a flask from his pocket and started drinking. Naruto made a joke about running into each other. Okay, so apparently Ren, um, yeah, apparently Ren is Nora's imaginary friend in this story. Yeah, yeah, they're going yeah. Yep. They're going the mental illness route. or maybe Ren died earlier and Nora never let him go, quote unquote thing. But yeah, Ren is now an imaginary friend, and Naruto is replacing him. Oh no, I forgot my sleeping bag. Take mine, sure. Yeah, good night, Nora. Yep. Okay. Yep. Alright. Only read if you're caught up on Ruby. So I have to ask you guys something that's been bugging me. Crow should be Ruby's dad instead of Taiyang. It's because they dress like their colors match. He trained her, he protects her, he explains everything to her. And then there's a question as to why Ruby took on the mother's name and not Tai's like Yang has. That's actually a fairly good point as well, because Yang did not take on Tai's Yang name either. That's a very good point. My problem with Crow being Ruby's dad is it makes no sense. He obviously has been in her life, so what's the point about lying about it all? If Crow's semblance is bringing misfortune, what if he decided to keep his distance from the family to protect her? Oh, God damn it. Alright. Apparently, the Branwyn family, despite being a bunch of fucking bandits, are all actually self-stylized martyrs who all wish to keep everyone else in the world safe from their clearly destructive semblances that they can't turn off. I'm so glad all of these bandits are moral, ethical people that care about the safety of others. Yep. All right. Yeah. So it's 8:30. That gives us enough time for maybe a short story. But did I not change this? Oops. There we go. Right. So, let us get another. This one's probably gonna be short and shit. Yep, I was right. This is short and shit. Alright, let's go. So, this is a worm story called a gaming something or other. No, y'all don't get the fucking act with pinged. Y'all don't get to do that. So, this is a worm story. A gaming conception. I don't think that word means what you think it means. When I went to sleep, I didn't expect to be turned into a worm CYOA. I recognize it as the worm third version. I don't remember ever making this one, but there's no time for that. If I hesitate, I will age. If I retreat, I will die. Oh boy, quoting Bleach. What are we, in the fucking 2011s? Blah blah blah. And yet another idea. The quote I put in has no meaning to the story. I just like it. I'm just gonna randomly use a quote in the summary of the story and have it be zero relevance. Have I told you about my Lamborghinis yet? This is a podcast about fan fiction, but I know that. But have I told you about my Lamborghinis? I own like 22 Lamborghinis. Just ignore the fact that they're all toy cars, and 3 of them are tractors, and actually only one of them is a Lamborghini. But they're all Lamborghinis. I swear. I'm telling you the truth. Have you ever heard the quote from Albert Einstein that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it? It's a very moving quote from Albert Einstein. None of this has any relevance to the story I'm currently reading, but I just wanted to let you guys all know this information because, I don't know. I'm a retard or something. Chapter 1. I woke up and I'm in a game. Name, question, level 1. Title, none. Stat points and stuff. Skills, gamer body, gamer mind. Charles Atlas. Gives peak human stats in physical and mental attributes and skill mastery as long as you train. Man of mystery. It's impossible for your identities to be connected to you without your consent. And you can't be predicted. Special Snowflake. You are the only you that exists. Your powers cannot be copied. Plot armor. You have ungodly luck that will contribute to your survival. I finished with the giant info dump. That's not a giant info dump. Not a moment too soon. Because a goblin was attacking me. So I punched the goblin. And then the goblin exploded. And gave me a level up and dollars. New skill created. Unarmed combat. New skills are neat. I had to leave. So I got a quest to leave. And there's goblins here. So I punched them all. And then I got the Goblin Killer title. I didn't have any magic, so I wasn't going to bother with intelligence or wisdom. And a goblin was around me attacking. And so I was surprised by it and got cut. And then I punched it in the head. New skill created. Echolocation. Using my clicking tongue, I managed to locate my way out the cave. And because I can click my tongue, I can now prevent goblin ambushes by clicking my tongue. He knows the way. Goblins, and then I punched them all in the face. And because I was using echolocation so much, it leveled up. And yeah, he's just doing that. He's punching goblins and leveling up echolocation. He's punching goblins. He's punching goblins, and then the goblin stabbed him, and then he punched the goblin. Cutting resistance. Gained. Eye of Mind True. Gained. You are able to predict how people act, born through battle. Evasion. Yeah. Imagine getting the Eye of Mind. Imagine getting such a broken, overpowered ability by fist fighting goblins. Imagine that's all you ever needed to get Eye of the Mind true. Is you need to fist fight goblins like 10 times. Big brain. Massive brain. Army of one. In a battle, numbers mean little to you. As long as you can defeat each opponent individually and have the energy to last that long, you will find facing groups of enemies no more difficult than fighting each one. That makes no sense. Army of one. This title gives you the ability to... What? The literal stipulation for Army of One is as long as you fight each enemy individually. So you're already fighting them individually if you're fighting them individually, which means you're not fighting an army. You're fighting a one-on-one. And as long as you have the energy to fight them all, you will be able to fight them. And you'll find it no more difficult than fighting them back to back, because that's exactly what you are doing. By the premise of the first part of this title, it says that you must fight them 1v1 back to back, and then the second part of this title says, as long as you have the energy to do so, you'll be able to fight them one-on-one back to back. So as long as you're fighting them one-on back to back, you'll be able to fight them one-on-one back to back. I think the author is using a CYOA or jump chain. Yes, no. Oh my god, Moth. I literally said this is version 3 of the Worm CYOA. Fuck, I'm gonna petition Arn to add the deaf title to you. Blah blah blah. I have a high rank Lux, so that's why I'm getting all these skills. Blah blah, the blah blah. After I equipped the Army of One title, all the battles got a lot easier because all of the goblins started just fighting me one-on-one. Except that isn't actually what happened because all of the goblins just started stabbing at me simultaneously. What? What's... I'm... Occasionally I used dual spears at the same time and got the dual wielder skill. Oh, okay. And I tried being stealthy and I got stealth from it. Body function manipulation. You're able to control your body functions. Skill gain. Blah blah. Body function manipulation seems to be a reference to controlling your metabolism. Metabolism has nothing to do. I mean, I guess it does have something to do with how fast your heart beats, and your heart beats at the speed you breathe. So, I mean, I guess. But it's still dumb. And then things continued on like that for a couple hours. I would sneak up on goblins, and then I would punch them all. And then body function manipulation evolved into self manipulation. At this level, I can increase hair growth. Okay. Trying to control several groups of my hair at the same time gave me the multitasking skill. And I slaughtered thousands and thousands of goblins by sneaking up to them and stabbing them all with my fists. I'm going with a very balanced build. Uh-huh. Blah 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 blah. Piercing resistance. Blah 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 blah. Self manipulation. Well, would you like to change your name? Oh boy, Ramiru Tempest. Woo! And he made his hair blue and his eyes yellow, and he changed the shape of his face. And he knows that he's basically cosplaying as Ramiru, but he thought it would be funny. Oh wow. Oh wow. And that's the end of the first chapter. I just can't help myself posting these stories. No, oh boy. That sure was fun. Hi, Isley. Oh boy. That's a very riveting gamer story. That did nothing. What do I have to say about this story? As I really can't say anything about the story. I can't say anything about the characters of the story because well, the only character displayed was the original character self-insert. So I can't comment on the characters. How about the plot? Is the plot good? No idea. We don't know where he is. He's in a cave or something, and he's just wandering through this cave, and there's a shit ton of goblins in the cave, and he's just killing all the goblins by hand. Why? I don't know, but he is. Um, Plot, pacing. I can actually say words about pacing. So the pacing of this story is god awful trash. It's literally like I walk up to goblins and then I punch them, and I got the punch skill. And then the next group of goblins I found, I punched them too, and it leveled up. And then the next group of goblins I found, I was like, but what if I snuck up to them before punching them? And so I did that, and I got a new stealth skill. And then I did that for like a couple hundred goblins, and all my skills evolved and leveled up and shit. And then I punched more goblins, and then that's the chapter. Chapter's over. It's like amazing, fantastic. Fucking most riveting story 2020. Let's see what we got here. We got 20 more minutes left. Sure, let's try and slam another one on there. Try and just slide it on
Stupidity,
there.
have I missed?
You just missed a worm story where it's a self-insert original character who used a worm COIOA, and they have all of the powers.
One of those stupid things. God, why do
And,
people write those?
And the entire it's a gamer story too. I don't know if I mentioned that. But the entire chapter was they woke up in a cave, and so they punched a goblin and got the goblin punching skill. And then they snuck up to a goblin and they got the goblin stealth skill. And then they punched and stuck up to a bunch of things, and then eventually they got the ability to grow their hair. And then they punched more goblins, and then eventually they got to the end of the Fallout 3 intro sequence, and got the ability to change all their stats and names and shit. And so they changed their hair color to blue and their eye color to yellow, and then they changed their face a bit to round it out, and then they named themselves Ramiru Tempest. Yeah. As for the Naruto Ruby story, so Raven's semblance was revealed to be death, and that even though she was shown using her semblance of teleporting to people that she loves or has emotions about, she also has a secondary semblance that kills everyone around her.
That's
Yes. And the reasoning as to why Naruto was kidnapped was also revealed. Naruto was looking for Yang and Ruby, and then Nora ran him over. And Nora is actually a mentally deranged child who has an imaginary friend named Ren. And Naruto and Nora hit it off. And eventually, Naruto decides to tell Nora that his mother kidnapped him as a baby because his semblance was too strong and would kill his family. And what his semblance is that he steals the good luck of everyone around him. And when combined with Raven's death semblance, Raven stole Naruto because she was afraid that Naruto would steal her family's luck and that her death semblance would bring death to them. So she kidnapped Naruto and brought him back to the bandit tribe because the bandits, were so concerned about the health and safety of other civilians around them.
Hmm.
So that's about it, yeah. And then we were gonna finish off on another story. That's a pretty long one. That's a pretty long one. That looks short enough. Alright. So, tonight's last fanfic is going to be a Konosuba Fate Stay Night story. Called A Kaleidoscope Blessing.
Oh, Jesus.
Kazuma Sato decided to choose the second magic as his ability. Rescued from being subsumed into the root by a wizard marshal, he is forced to navigate a world with ridiculous mechanics, divine spirits, distorted party members, while attempting to master the operation of parallel roads along the way. Due to a series of unfortunate events that happened in his personal life, Wuji can no longer write fanfiction. So I've managed to persuade him to give me his stories so that I may continue where he has left off. I will attempt my best to emulate his writing style and
Oh,
do his
Jesus,
stories
no.
proudly.
No.
Where the fuck is Wuji and why do we care?
I assume this is someone who was writing this crap normally.
Let's see. This looks like it. Ah, yes. This is, in fact, Wuji. I cannot write anymore. Interesting.
Mm.
Sato Kazuma. Welcome to the afterlife. And it's Aqua. Blah blah blah. Blah blah. Blah blah. Society, the human condition, blah blah. Common sense, blah blah blah. We live in a society, blah 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 blah. And then Kazuma walked out into the middle of the road because he was too busy looking at his phone. And he died.
Yay.
Oh no, just kidding. So what happened is that Kazuma saw the girl crossing the road reading her phone, and decided he was going to push her out of the way, and he died. Is that girl still alive? Yep, she's alive, but she fractured her leg. And she would not have been hurt if you didn't knock her away. The tractor would have stopped before hitting the girl. That was unexpected. It was a slow tractor at all. Blah blah. Tractor, not a truck. It's a tractor. If it was not a truck. How did I die then? You died from shock. You thought you were run over by a truck. It went to shock and you died. Blah blah. You goddess of evil. Blah blah blah. Depressing session. My name is Aqua. Blah blah blah. Cannon, 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 cannon. Cannon, 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 cannon. Cannon, cannon. Okay, and then right as he was about to do cannon, he looked at Kaleidoscope, and he slammed it on Kaleidoscope, because Kaleidoscope is obviously the overpowered Kaleidoscope from Kaleidoscope fanfiction. Kaleidoscope, Kaleidoscope. The mere human mind cannot comprehend the notion of infinite non-existence. This is why most magi are consumed by the root, the origin of all things when they reach it. The ones that avoid this fate are what is known as magicians, who achieve the impossible, who spit at the laws of the universe and transcend divine might. Before the one known as Kazuma Sato became one with root, gate of Akasha opened for me. He was pulled back by the will of the man who slew the moon. And that's the end of chapter 1. Oh
Jesus
boy.
God.
I'm sure am glad that literally chapter 1 was just canon, and then right at the end, cliffhanger, actually something happens. You know what? I'm done for tonight. Fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck YouTube. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So I will not be here next week because I will be in Florida without a computer. It's going to be a heavy amount of suffering will occur, but I will endure, and I'll be back to explain more fanfiction to you guys in 2 weeks. So I'll see you next time at 7 p.m.
Kill me.
on a Tuesday, as we always are. Because, of course, there is always more, and it always gets worse.